in this video, I want to talk about the mindset, training, and philosophy, why I train the way I train, why I train 7 days a week, all that kind of stuff, how I learned the intensity, where did I start, how did I progress my lifting, how did I develop like a lifter's intuition, knowing when to rest, knowing when to push harder. I mean, it's always going to be hard, man. You want it to be difficult, right? So, but just to talk a little bit about how I developed my mindset, I kind of got to go back to where I started and tell you about the lessons I learned along the way. So hopefully, you know, like it can intercept with where you're at in your journey, and you can be like, take a little bit of inspiration or advice that might break down a roadblock for you, or like a plateau or something like that. And there's so, like, the gym is the best metaphor for life, guys. Really, it teaches so much to you about yourself. It's like it reveals so much opportunity for growth and character and strength. It's like a mirror that you look back on at the rest of your life, and you can see like, okay, I'm weak in this area because I'm not applying myself here, and all these things that I can directly control, which is my physique, my food, the sleep, recovery, the training intensity, all that stuff. It's like you notice a train to build it, you're then transferring to the rest of your life. When you elevate this area here, the rest of your life elevates up too, guys, because you're training the values and the habits and attention to detail in yourself right here. So you can't help but habitually do that in all the other areas of life. That's what I love about the gym, man. It's such a pure endeavor. That self-betterment, that progression, like chasing that every single day and having a tangible result, which is the physique and the numbers game of strength. I love it, man. Absolutely love it. Fell in love with the sport many years ago in terms of the powerlifting and the bodybuilding. But I've got to get you back to where I started, man. And that was with the football. So I'm playing football, like the World Games soccer football, and I'm playing like 4 or 5 different teams at once. I'm a really great player. I love playing like a winger or a striker, center forward. You know, the guy who scores all the goals, gets all the glory for the team. That's me, man. That's that guy. Like the guy who finishes, all right? This guy's to just like give everything he has in the field and just like, you know, leads his team to victory. I love that, man. So I always love that feeling of scoring a goal. I think it's a very close feeling to ripping like a massive deadlift off the ground or like succeeding in a big squat. It's like scoring goals, man. I love it, bro. I absolutely love it. So I'm like, I think I started training in the gym though when I was about 15, 16. Before that, I've been playing like 4 or 5 different football teams at the same time because I just love this stuff, man. But I'm tall and I'm lanky. I'm like 69 kilos, like dripping wet. I'm not filling out the frame that I have right now. Still the same height. So you guys can imagine, right, where I started was like that, where a lot of guys might be skinny fat or just like super lean, like really hard to put on muscle. Well, that was me, bro, in high school. And for the next few years until I built that frame and really filled it out with the strength training and the right nutrition. So I noticed as we're playing in these games, I often have at the center forward position, like at the front of the pitch, closest to the goal, I usually have 2 defenders right behind me like this, right? So I'm here and my back's towards the goal. I got to hold them off and get my first touch in on the floor. Make sure that I can spin or alternate or push these guys off in case they're going to come at me and try and take the ball away from me, right? I've got to be able to position my body in a way that can be strong enough to push them off. Now, I've always naturally been pretty strong, man. I've always been like training as an athlete, always eating like, you know, just balanced diet. Thankful to my parents for raising me in the right way. But I noticed a deficiency, man. And how did I notice that? Because I was actually using comparison to high caliber athletes, like the best in the world, because I wanted to be the best. I had to emulate what the best were doing. And so I go and study these guys like Ronaldo, like Zlatan, the guys who are like the best in their craft as like strikers and wingers. I'm like, what's the difference between me and them? Well, these guys, like, although they're fit or they're fast, although they're skillful, they're also strong on the ball. They also have a presence there. Why? Because they invest time in the gym, they fill out their frames, they're able to hold up with good posture, all these different things. And these guys also, like, for footballers, look way different than the rest of the pack. Like, they're lean, they're ripped. It's a lot different physique to most people who they're just like, you know, they're just fit, but they don't look it. I wanted that physique as well. I wanted that look as well. So it started for me, man. I wanted to look better. I remember I was looking in the mirror one time and I'm like, I'm lean, but I don't see any abs. Like, what's going on here? I'm like, have these pool noodle arms, like super skinny. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to look like this anymore. So it was a mixture of like that self-image, wanting to look a particular way, as well as wanting that performance in sport. The gym actually started for me as a means to get revenge on this team in football, man. It was like our team had been like versing this team called Villa, and of course I remember the name, bro. Of course I remember, because it put so much motivation in me. Was you get handed like a fat L, and then you end up, it's up to you if you want to recover from that or if you want to persevere through it and get, you know, that the success is the best form of revenge, man. Love it. So it's like grade 11 and I'm playing in the first team for my school, and yeah, well, it was like, I don't know, like 3 or 4-0, something like that. Like my team was not performing very well. I don't know, man. Maybe I scored a goal or 2. I can't really remember. What I do remember is this: the other team got given a penalty, right? And then they sent their goalkeeper to go and take that penalty kick, and they scored it on our keeper. And I was heated, bro. I was like, that's so disrespectful as a sportsman. Like, what kind of sportsmanship is this to go and humiliate the other team like that? Now I'm just like, looking back, I'm like, thank you for doing that, because it woke up a beast in me. And at the time, man, you know, I'm going through different stuff at school and relationships and whatnot. Like, a whole bunch of my mates have kind of like turned their back on me and trying to like bully me and harass me and shit. And I'm just like, not letting it bother me at all. Focusing on getting good grades, focusing on progressing in football. And then I'm like, all right, I look at the weak points in me, and I got to get revenge on these guys, man. I got to beat them so hard next year that they regret ever putting that goalkeeper scoring a goal, right? So I have all these different motivations going on in my life. It gets to like term 3, term 4 holidays. That's when I start training in the gym. I'm like, all right, I got a clear goal. I'm comparing to the best in the world at this. What did they do? How can I progress? It's like purposeful training, purposeful input, providing that purposeful output. It's like, I know why I'm here. I know there's a value doing it. Therefore, I'm going to invest the time and effort and sacrifice into it to become a better version of myself. So it was really about the strength from day one for me, man. And at the time, I kind of combined it, like those year 11 holidays. I was working a job at Blockbuster, man, and we sold that Ben & Jerry's ice cream, right? So they have this freezer, and we had like Brisbane floods come through, and basically like the shop like kind of shut down for like a couple hours because the electricity got cut off, and they said to the employees, take all the ice cream home. I was the employee on that day, man. So basically they gave me like 20, 30 tubs of this Ben & Jerry's. And so I ended up starting my very first bulk that school holidays. And so I was just like smashing Ben & Jerry's, watching Dragon Ball Z for the first time. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get jacked like Goku and Vegeta. That's how I want to look. I want to be as strong as them. And then next year when this training comes around, I'm going to pump Villanova and we're going to win the premiership. That was my goal, all right? So I had a clear goal, a clear input, a clear motivation. And, you know, like I say, man, it doesn't always start. Damn, I got sunscreen in my eye, bro. Oh, I never wear this crap, but my girl told me to wear it because I got to look after my skin. I got sunburned AF like last time I was out, so I'm trying to look after it, baby. That's for you. Anyways, melting like an ice cream here, man. Literally, that Ben & Jerry's is me right now. All right, back to it, man. So I'm in a period of life, man, where I'm extremely motivated. I've got that pain, which is like converting into purpose. That's where I first learned that lesson, man, of converting pain into purpose, like that motivation, that drive. I remember sitting on the pec deck at gym, and I'm like, I'm going to crush these guys, man. I'm going to get them. I'm going to be so strong for my team. I'm going to lift them all up, and we're going to go and like beat these guys together. Year 12 rolls around. I've started putting on sides. I'm getting strong in the gym. I've got that like every single session. I'm trying to beat my last because my training program wasn't based on what everyone else was doing. Because I looked at these guys on steroids and stuff, and I'm like, bro, you're taking shortcuts. I don't want to be like you. I'm looking at these other guys and like, it's not really like where I want to go in life. I want to be strong first, strength first. So I'm looking at like, I'm doing like basic hypertrophy and that kind of stuff, but every single goal, every single session was to beat my last session, man. And how did I build that? Watching Dragon Ball Z, man. I was like watching Goku get up after failure, and then he has this breakthrough and he's strong and just like whoops everyone else. I look at Vegeta, the exact same thing, the mentality and the mindset of never giving up on your friends, always progressing, always pushing forwards, always striving for greatness. So like, there's so many lessons in Dragon Ball Z. Every single guy and girl has to watch Dragon Ball Z. Man, that's like a cornerstone of like my mentality, is if you're ever struggling, man, you got to go and watch the intensity and the work ethic and sacrifice these made up characters do in this anime and whatever, like just to be able to see it in yourself. It's like, it's so inspiring, man. Like just seeing these guys who are jacked and ripped and giving everything and sacrificing everything, pushing to like the brinks of death, and then they get given this boost in power because they've pushed themselves to the limits and beyond and pushed past their limits consistently day in, day out. It's like this trained mindset of never giving up on themselves, a trained ability of always believing, a trained ability, like they're facing like the most insurmountable odds. They're facing all these like adversities or like the most impossible enemies to defeat. But like Goku and Vegeta, man, they never give up. And then like, it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're 100 times stronger than me. I'm still going to give everything I've got. And if I die in the heat of battle, so what? But I'm not going to let that happen. In fact, we're not even thinking about that going to happen. It's like, I don't care if you look or you act or you are so much stronger than me. I'm going to fight and I'm going to win. And that's the mentality you got to have, man. So that's the mentality I was building with these reps. So I'm punching out all these Ben & Jerry's. I'm bulking up. In that year, I'd have like 4 liters of milk a day. I put on like 20 kilos in that year. Not the right way, guys. I'm just telling you what I did, okay? So I'm like having 4 liters of milk a day. I have one on the train on the way to school. one at morning tea, one at lunchtime, and one at nighttime. I'm eating all of mum's meals. I got like these little, like these, not little, but like a tub like this thick and that wide of like rice or pasta, whatever mum's cooking was. And so I'm just like shoveling food down all the time. All my lunchtimes are spent eating and doing all my maths homework. I'm like studying, tutoring. I kind of parked the football for a little bit because I got injured, and I'm training in the gym, falling more in love with the pain of the process, converting that pain to purpose. And I just dropped off all my club football because I realized like my marks are getting behind. So I'm going through like this really kind of like turbulent stage of these life changes happening for me. But I'm still just like persistent in my goals of self-improvement. I'm training with the boys still at First 11, and like shit had kind of hit the fan with like my friendship circle. Like a lot of my friends kind of turned their back on me, or were like kind of on the fence, and you know, being friends with one people, but then they're trying to be friends with me. It's just like, I'm not about that. Like pick a side, man. And kids are kids, man. It's just what they do. But it's all good. It's water under the bridge, man. All forgiven. But just telling you where I was at as a young fella, right? This sunscreen, bro, is like killing my eyes. Oh my goodness, boys. Terrible idea. All right, so blind, man. So all my friendship circle is like dog me, right? So I'm just kind of going ISO through all this, just kind of internalizing all that pain and frustration and channeling it into my goals. So like I'm turning around all my marks that were like D- and failing in maths B, and I turn around to an A by the end of the year. I'm like straight Aing in all my subjects. I'm just like absolutely just like smashing progression in every single way. I'm training in the gym every single day. I'm feeling better about myself. I'm getting big. Other people are getting jealous and hating on it and talking all their shit. So, but I'm like, it doesn't matter, man. I know where I'm going. I have enough vision to keep going through that. Beating my last session every single time, developing more intensity, more passion, more purpose, more value in myself with every single rep that I put in. And I'm just pushing past failure. I got so much pain, so much frustration at the friendships, at the relationship that I had, or like whatever circumstance was going on. Like I wasn't the person I wanted to be, and it was frustrating because I knew where I wanted to go and I put in the effort, but I'm like, it needs to come faster. So I'm putting more intensity. And it gets around to that season and I break my thumb. And the coach and my parents are like, you know, you're gonna have to sit out or your thumb's gonna end up getting worse. They have it strapped up in a cast. It's bullshit, by the way. I wish I could have changed that, but you know, hindsight 2020, man, and regret, you can't really change that after the fact. So you just gotta roll with it, right? So I'm kind of sitting on the sidelines for most of these games, and in the seasons prior to this, like the 15s and then the first, like all these different teams that I've played and accumulating to this was like our team was undefeated all through these different seasons. And then we get to the premiership season, like the first ever premiership that our school would have won, was my year of like senior year. And like our team was like the most dominating team because like the age group of my team was like, it's really solid players. Like the teams before us of like the first team, like the best team in the school, you know, the quality was getting there, but it wasn't 100% there yet. It was my age group that was really pushing that limit. But I'd always played in the first team as well as that lower age group as well, because I was just young and good and talented. So I was in both teams there. I don't know, since like grade 9 or grade 8 or something. Anyways, so year 12 rolls around. I'm way better on the ball. I remember one of the last games that I was in, like I scored a hat trick. My thumb was like all broken and busted up from this tour, man. I got to tell you a story about that. Damn. But all right, I will tell you that because it's like all these little nuggets of all these little things of motivation, man. It meant a lot to me, and it pushed me, and it made me a really strong mindset. So we're at this Easter tour, right? And I run in because I'm all like hot ego and stuff from being so much stronger in the gym now. I go in for a tackle on one of my mates, and my thumb just kind of like jams into his back. And like it pushes down, like tears these tendons and snaps some bones off and crap. And so my thumb like blows up like twice its size, got a Hulk hand. And I'm telling the teachers, I'm like, man, I think we should go to hospital. Like this is kind of messed up, you know? And like, nah, don't worry about it. We'll just ice it and wrap it. And these are like PE teachers, right? They should be qualified to this, but apparently not. And then for some reason, the coach and like other people there, like we have like a jersey handout ceremony, and I've rocked the number 10 for like the last 3 years, right? It's my number, bro. And we get to this thing, and one of the guys in my team was like, oh no, I want number 10. And then the coaches just completely disrespected me, and we're like, you know what? You guys can compete for it. Whoever can do the most push-ups is going to have that jersey. And I look at this guy, I'm like, bro, have you seen my hand? Like, and you're gonna disrespect me like that when you know like this is my number? You're not even starting, man. Like, you're on, go warm the bench, cut me some oranges. I'm the player, right? But he wants to smoke. So we get down and I'm just like, bro, my hand hurts so bad. And all the teachers are on the sidelines, all the boys are laughing like, oh, you know, they're gonna knock Jack off because they know he's been training, and no one else does this shit, man. No one else is pushing themselves in the gym at this stage. I'm already stronger than everyone else in that team, in that school. Everyone's just talking their shit because they're sitting on the sidelines, man, like watching someone else progress. For some reason, it's weird like that, man. Guys get jealous when you're progressing. I don't understand it, man. It's like the strongest lift others. So that's why I put that aside even back then. It's not shit on them, but to realize like if I keep going through with that, like that power and focus on myself and not like hate on them while they're hating on me, or they can see a better example. And the strongest men, they lift others. They can lift them up through their example of like, you know what, it gave me some motivation, man, but I'm not going to hold it against you. It's just where you were at. Now I can bring you up with me because you know I'm not holding it against them. You know what I mean? It was like, that's what a good friend is. You can leave them behind, but then when they look at you for inspiration, you don't just leave them there. It's like you just understand they had their own situation, handling it, that was their at. I had that wisdom from a young age, man, realizing that like, although it was painful, it was like it's going to serve a purpose later on. So I stuck true to that and nailed that vision to a T, man. So we're doing these push-ups. I'm banging out these reps, and this guy gives up at like 10 or 20 or some bullshit. Like untrained guy, right? Challenging someone who's trained just because he thinks he can knock him off with like a hand that doesn't work. And so I wait for him to gas out. I'm just taking my sweet time. And then he finishes, and then I go and pump out like another 30 or 40 just to be like, you cannot try me, man. Like, I'm going to teach you all a lesson. All you guys who are around here laughing at me, all you guys are trying to challenge me, all you guys trying to disrespect me, I'm going to teach you a damn lesson about what it means, right? Like, don't try me. So I get my number 10, and then I'm injured, bro. The physio or whatever the expert is on this stuff was like, you'll never be able to use your thumb again if he goes and pushes it further and a ball hits it or something like that. And so I'm heated because I've spent like an entire like summer holidays like training my ass off, like wanting to smash this other team so bad. So I'm taking all that frustration, I'm channeling it into the gym, into my maths homework, into just like turning around my life, into just giving 100% everything that I'm doing. I turn off all the social medias. I'm like completely focused on like trying to find out how can I be the best footballer, how can I be the best bodybuilder, how can I get stronger, how can I get so strong that like nothing can break me, how can I be the best, man. I was focusing on the best, not second best. I want to be the best version of myself. And so we get to a point, man, it's like they give me the all clear to play almost. And my first game coming back is where I versed that team, Villanova, and I guess I hadn't been training enough with the team because maybe I had some entitlement, and so I'm training like in the gym every single day, but because I can't train with the team because the doctors haven't given me the clear, the coach didn't put me in for the game. And I was like, what? Come on, I'm sitting on the bench. Before that, they put me in like the seconds team. So I go play the seconds team. I haven't played a game of football in ages. I go and score 2 goals. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Like, it was weird. They didn't put me in the first team, but, you know, I'll go and, like, win the game with these guys, and then they'll put me back in that team. Like, surely, like, it makes sense, right? Maybe I had to warm up. Maybe they want to see what I had. Whatever, bro. Or maybe I'm coming off the bench. It's all good. But, like, they'll play me. But then the big game comes around. The first team. And they leave me on the bench, bro. And I'm like, coach, you got to put me in. This means everything to me. You don't get it. Like, this kept me up at night, knowing that I have to beat these guys. I have to get the revenge on them. Like, I've been training for this. I've been like motivating all my team. Even these guys are treating me like shit. I've been there cheering them, supporting them, like running campaigns at my school to get like all the different students behind their back, trying to get everyone on board with this first 11 team, because we're going to create a dynasty here, man. Like, we're going to create an impact and a legacy. Like, if we get this premiership, we're going to be the first team at my school to ever get this. So it meant so much to me, man, to go and play, to go and be in this and participate and to win and to lift up all my boys. Nah, doesn't put me in. We win the game, but I was so upset, bro. That shit bothered me so bad. And the rest of the year, man, it was just, all right, gym from now on. We're just going to push that to its max potential. So I've got the gym, I've got the Dragon Ball, I've got that pain of regret. I've got that pain. I'm never going to be able to play that team again and like get my revenge, but there's going to be a different point in time, man. But I thank that opportunity there of like adversity for a 16-year-old to be able to push me into that. You know what I mean? So what happens next, man? I'm just like leveling up. I graduate year 12, do really well, but I'm like, damn, something's not like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. All I know is I love training, I love physical progression, I love football. Where can I go with this? How can I, like, where can I take it? And my dad basically gave me two options. He's like, all right, man, well, you finish school, you can either go to university and study, or you can go work a full-time job. And that was basically it. And I'm like, well, I don't, like, I'm a kid, man. Like, I don't know what I want to do after school. I know what I love, but as a career, and I guess it was like I had other people's opinions in my ears too much about that. Like, everyone kind of goes into university now, and they're gonna start doing their own thing. And I'm like, nah, I'm not ready to commit to that yet, because I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know what I want to do. So I want to go figure out, all right, I'll go work this car sales job. And I'm like, bro, this is bullshit. I don't like this at all. I leave there a few months later, but it like kind of takes me out of the football season, because you got to work on Saturdays, and that's when the games are for football. And so I just never really got back into it after that. But thankfully, I've been like loving the gym and progressing in the gym. And then kind of halfway through that first year out of school, like 2014, no, it was a little bit after that. Yeah, I guess that whole year was mainly based on like bodybuilding kind of training, and just intense training, and just like not having like any specific program, rather than just like pushing past failure as much as I could and growing. And it was really a beautiful time, man. It was a great time being alive. I had a lot of solitude, a lot of isolation, a lot of really valuable lessons I learned just by pushing myself in the gym and watching a lot of Dragon Ball, man. 2015 rolls around. One of my mates, rest in peace, Aaron Alexson. What a man, bro. He saw something in me that I didn't see. I was training at the gym with a couple of my mates at the time, and they started doing like powerlifting kind of training, like 5x5s and reps of 4 and stuff. And I'm like, this is sick. This is like specifically strength training. This is what I really want to do. So I start training that kind of style. And then my boy Aaron from the sub store is like, hey man, you want to enter in this competition? It's like, it's powerlifting. I'm like, oh, well, I haven't really done one before. Like, you think I'm ready for that? Like, these guys are like so much stronger than me. How can I possibly go in and, I'm a competitor, man. Like, if I go in, I want to win it. So I don't want to just rock up and just like, he's like, dude, just go and do it. You're really strong, and go and have fun. I rock up. This is like, I don't know, a couple of weeks later. I'm all right, first powerlifting comp. The vibes are amazing. People just cheering for you. Everyone's welcoming. It's like going to church for the first time, man. Just like such a positive, loving community. Our church is a little bit different, but it's a little bit more loving. But everyone's there to wants you to win, right? That's what's really cool. It was like my church before church. So I rock up and I smoke them, bro. I smoked them all. I got a 180 squat raw, a 137.5 bench, and 235 deadlift. And that was at age 17 or 18. Raw would have been like 90 kilos. Same weight as I am now, by the way. It's amazing how these things progress. But it was that early victory, and I was like, dude, this is sick. I love this even more. So I kept investing in it, kept training, kept going hard. And then my training evolved, man. Like, my training evolved to be like primarily strength training. I was like, I love pushing myself so much. I can actually track every single week to week, like the progression I'm making in terms of my reps and my sets, of like the numbers game. I loved it, man. I fell in love with the details of it. And I'm just like building this mindset of being unstoppable, and like really not caring what everyone else in society is doing, where I think most people my age are going to the gyms trying to pick up chicks and get ripped and everything like that. And I'm like, always had in my mind, I just want to have like a beautiful wife and family. And I was like, I just believe the physique is going to come later if I build this base of strength and character that I'm going to be showing up day in, day out, and ignoring all the voices and examples of society. Focus on strength. It was like the inner strength, the physical strength. I was just always focused on that, man, because I'm watching and participating in the right things. Like, that's what Dragon Ball was teaching me, man. That's what like all the martial arts films are teaching me, was character and strength. And so I'm persevering through this time, start doing more comps. I set a national squat record, just like progressing really quickly in my lifting. And I'm like a really great junior lifter. Time goes on, and my training philosophy, man, like it just keeps on being like, beat your last session. And I never really prepped for a comp, man. I know it sounds funny as like a powerlifter who's like, I deadlift 320, I can squat 290, I can bench 175 kilos. Like at 90 kilos, by the way, naturally, never taken drugs, just had a pure belief and intensity in me, and just a want, a desire to go and push myself as hard as I can. and then I go and slaughter all these guys on gear anyways. And you look good doing it, man. It's like, why? How? Well, I just had a belief, man. I had a value in what I was doing. I had a reason that was deeper than just moving weights around or just looking a particular way. And I get into like, I guess 3 years ago or something like that, and I started taking my diet seriously, started just like tracking the macros differently, started learning how to train like a bodybuilder as well, so I could go and stack on the size too. After I go and cut the fat, I could then go and rebuild it, and now I have all the skills and tools of it, be able to be strong and lean at the same time. And I basically stay single digits body fat year round. Like there's a period where I was like 10.5 and it pissed me off, bro, because I have that value and respect in myself. I'm like, I have that standard. I'm like, no, I remain single digits body fat year round. And I take pride in that, because it takes a lot of discipline and sacrifice to be able to have that. But because it takes that, not many people have it. It's an earned thing. It's like you have that credibility. You can look in the mirror every single day. You have that credibility in society. People look at you as a role model, a leader. Like if he can do that right, he can sure as shit do something else right too. I trust that guy. I trust he's a man of his word. I trust he follows through on his word to himself. Therefore, I'm going to trust him more as well. So that's like the foundation of relationships, of business, of anything, man. It's all like about that self-worth, the honoring your word to yourself, trusting yourself, believing yourself, betting on yourself. Other people can see that, man. You can't hide what you do in private. You wear it in public. It's the same as what you eat in private, you wear in public. The type of diet you have in private, whether it be like the porn, alcohol, drugs, the sex that doesn't mean shit. Like all this stuff that like, these things that a lot of people value, but are robbing you of that long-term belief, all that instant gratification stuff, man. It's like, you gotta get rid of that, bro. And I was just, I had my own battles too, man. So I'm not saying like, I'm perfect, no means, bro. Like it's so many things I've had to work on, but talking about the training being such a fundamental of my life, it really was, man. And when I went through like a couple of years back, this is before I got quite lean, I was going through a really rough time in my relationship, bro. Like I had a kid when I was like 21, a beautiful daughter, and that stuff rocked me, man. Like it was such a big opportunity. I've always wanted to be a dad, but it was like my life was just like thrown all over the place. Like, what am I gonna do now? Like, I gotta dig deeper. And it's kind of a different story for a different time, and I'll put that in another one, because I think it's a lot of value in this. Like, basically went through like a divorce, almost, I guess you could say. Like when you have a kid, I guess it's a divorce, right? We weren't married, but like we went separate ways, man. Had the separation there, and you have a kid, there's so much like pain and struggle and self-image and all these different crazy things thrown into this mix of pain. And thank God that I had the gym at that time, because it got me through so much, because I'd had that trained ability of not giving up and persevering and believing and always like holding on to what I valued the most and never giving up on it. So I just spent the next few years just honestly like honing my mindset and mentality and trying to become better. And there was times where I slipped into like a porn addiction or alcohol or just masking my pain with sport. So like more powerlifting or more training, basketball, whatever it might have been, man. Like those things were like where I'm trying to get to the root, I guess, of like my pain. I was avoiding it in different ways, but I had the gym as this constant throughout it, which got me from the lowest up to the back to the highest. But then even so, man, like later on when like that relationship like fully dissolved, because it's on and off for a few years. When you have a kid, it's very confusing and very hard to kind of separate the pain when you're seeing a kid all the time, and it's just tough, man. But when that finally dissolved, bro, I'm like, all right, well, I got this addiction with porn still, because I'm beating myself up with all this guilt and shame and everything like that. It's all this like just crashing down on me. It's so hard seeing my daughter in so much pain, and knowing the hurt that exists in my family, and the fear for the future for everyone, and just making sure that everyone's looked after, right? I just kind of given up on myself in some areas, and so it pushed me to like kind of hate myself and to punish myself in a way, and because I had all that guilt and stuff. And so we get to an area of my life, and I really started trying to seek God for that healing. And thank God that I did, because He, in His mercy and His grace, He picked me up and broke the chains of addiction. But now I work with God at the same time as the training, which is why I get on here and I teach, because that was really what saved me, was God. But in terms of the training, man, like having that trained ability be a constant of like resilience, getting back up when you get knocked down, pushing past fear and failure, like those are two different things, man, that like you learn by pushing with so much intensity in the gym, so much intensity in training, so much purpose gets built in that, so much belief gets built in that. Because there could have been so many times, man, where I've gone through all these different struggles of life, where I could have just ended it right there, man. I could have given up on myself. I could have really like ripped myself off the sidelines and not been the best dad I could be for my daughter. And the reason why I didn't, man, because I had that belief and value in myself that I built through all the years of repetitively pushing past fear, past failure, through learning like what it took to to break my back, or like to have these different injuries, and yet keep going, keep showing up, or like have friends abandon me, or have family abandon me. It's like, no, I still believe in the mission and the vision enough. I'm going to keep persevering through this no matter what. That's what kept me going, man. And then that's what's written through the healing of a co-parenting relationship now, and a beautiful new relationship, and the best relationship with my daughter, and the best relationship with God. And now I can walk through on the other side of pain and be able to help other guys who are going through that stuff. So I'm really grateful for all the things that were there and that shaped me and helped mold me. But I don't know how you guys get through that without the gym. And truth be told, a lot of you guys are not getting through it because you don't have that belief, because you don't have that intensity. And so the whole purpose of me even getting on here and coaching in the first place, or sharing about my experiences, man, is not for some kind of financial benefit. I don't care, man. You provide value, finances come. It's the value that I have, man, is the souls of men. It's like saving kids from having that same split up home that my daughter now has, even though she's great and thriving. It's like, it's not the natural way of life, and there's so many different complications and problems that come because of it. It's like, I don't want men to have to go through what I went through, because it was so painful, and I may not know that there's a way out, that there's hope and light at the end of the tunnel. And that's why I preach so heavy on God, on Jesus. That's why I preach so heavy on intensity and training, and valuing your word to yourself, and valuing the small daily steps that stack up to building a character that gets the right way of living. I think is the right way, which is just that a man is responsible for himself and his loved ones. And so he does everything in his power to become the best leader for them. That's what I believe that being the best man is all about, is being the best leader you can be for other people. And when you have that endless motivation of love for other people, like you guys on the other side of this camera, or my daughter, or people I haven't met yet, it's endless love, because I asked God to give me a vision to see people the way that he saw them, because there was so much pain and struggling through unforgiving other people, through not forgiving other people, that I had to let that go. I had to forgive the way that God forgave me. And so I stopped looking at people for their sin and for judging them, and being I started saying I hate the sin, not the sinner. I try and lead them a better way now. I have to look at their issue, and although I may not like it, it's I have to look at my issue too, and then God still cleaned me up. God still saved me. And so I know this video started about intensity and everything like that, and about, training and where I came from, where I'm going. But man, this is the whole point. It's a journey. It's inseparable for me, man. It's Christ and it's the gym, because that's what was the solution for me. And I'm trying to teach and preach a solution to you guys, man. I'm not trying to sell some short fix. I'm trying to sell you on yourself. I'm trying to sell you on your life. I'm trying to sell you on your goals and your vision, on your purpose and your mission, on who you are. Because you're unique, you're valuable, you're special, you're here for a purpose, man. But that purpose doesn't get fully revealed until you start walking in that path of faith, where you start believing in yourself, when you start respecting yourself, when you start respecting your creator, when you start respecting the opportunity you have today, start valuing the small things that create the value of the day. Because when you value the small things, guys, that adds up to a valuable day. But when you disregard these things and you slip and you fall and you keep going back into things you know you shouldn't be doing, well, man, that just leads you on the wrong path. So when you start valuing your word and start valuing the small steps, you have a very valuable life. And for me, man, when I was in my darkest times, even though I had the gym, I was only applying myself in the gym. Every other aspect of my life, man, was so painful. I just everything was trying to run to the gym. But as soon as I was out of the gym, I was a mess, bro. I felt beat up. I felt forgotten. I felt alone. I felt isolated. I felt depressed. I felt anxious. I had fear, guilt, shame, everything holding down on me, man. That's why the devil wants to keep you alone and isolated in that. But man, women, if you speak up when you're in those times of struggle, reach out to friends, go to church, seek your relationship with Christ, push yourself in the gym, in the training, in the sleep, with the recovery, the diet, go and do these things that are challenging and make you vulnerable, but you bring it to the light, you're going to be able to get that help, man. So the intensity that we learn in the gym, that training that we have in the gym, it trains the ability of resilience. And so it's really important that you put yourself into practice with this resilience by pushing to failure and then picking up more weight and keep going and going and going. That's why I make my training as simple, stupid as this, guys. It's beat your last session. Treat every session as if it was your last. It's really all there is to it. Never give up. The reason why guys can't stick to diet or transformation, because they never pushed themselves to the limits before. So when they get home and they think they have a limit of oh, I have this trained ability of reaching in the cupboard for snacks when I get hungry. It's if you trained earlier in the day and pushed yourself really past the limits of what pain was, you'd be comfortable with overcoming pain. You'd be comfortable with overcoming failure. So then when it gets home and you want to cheat on your diet, you're well, I don't want to cheat on my diet anymore, because I've already experienced what pain pushing through it feels like. It feels like victory, man. I feel like a better person. I feel more valuable. I have more self-respect. So it just snowballs on itself. That's how you say no to the alcohol in those situations. That's how you say no to the drugs, no to going places where you shouldn't be, or talking to people you shouldn't be talking to. Respecting other people, man. Respecting yourself. It's a trained ability reinforced by years of training over and over and over again, just like repetitive value, man, built in yourself. Always honoring your word to yourself. Always just believing in a path that is pure and that has the right cause behind it. For me, it was strength. I wanted to be the best. I still want to be the best, man. I want to be the best natural powerlifter that ever lived. But like my definition like of powerlifting is not the same definition as everyone else's, man. My definition is I want to lift everyone up. That's it. I want to lift everyone up. I think that's what's truly powerful, man. It's the strongest lift others, champions chase adversity, and I get all my fuel and motivation by like everyone else's heartbreak, knowing the silent struggle they're going through, knowing the unconfessed sin that they're struggling with, that they're sitting in. They don't know a better way of life. They don't know the healing of God. They don't know the grace of God. They don't know the love of God. They don't know like there's a life they can live that's beyond that. They might believe in it, but they might take one step and then there's like the devil just goes bang with like the wrong environment, or the wrong people, or whatever else, because he wants them trapped and isolated and alone. He wants them to kill themselves. He hates God's children. But I love him, man. And God loves you. And I'm going to talk about God in every video probably, man. I'm never going to turn my back on that because it's what works. It's what works. It's what works, man. It's the endless motivation. When you love other people the way God loves you, you're able to get out of those holes. You're able to be a better leader. That's how I was able to be the better dad for my daughter, man. I looked in the mirror one day and I said, enough is enough. My example is not good enough. I have to be the best dad I can be. So I started fighting for like trying to break addiction, trying to break the chains of shame and guilt. I was like, it doesn't matter where I've been, but I have to progress. I have to find a solution for this. I have to break this porn addiction. I have to not be sleeping in anymore. I have to get on a program. I have to get ripped. I can't have this like, I had like long hair and a beard at the time. I looked like homeless and shit. Just like someone who looks depressed. I look like that guy, man. I was skinny, fat and everything like that. So I got ripped, I got dialed, I got shredded. I got that belief. I reinforced all the belief that I'd already built in the gym, but now I was applying it across the board in every single other aspect of my life. I started lifting up my family, I started lifting up my friends that I've made in the gym. I started building better relationships, started being more confident, more outgoing, more belief, man. More belief, a better dad, more present at home for my daughter. Because when I'm present at home, because I've already looked after myself earlier in the day by investing in myself over and over and over again, what happens is I become the better dad who's more present at home for her. I'm not worried about how I look, how pulling different things out of my shirt because I got these bitch tits. Well, not that I have like big tits, but you know, it's like I'm not uncomfortable in my own skin. I'm not thinking about myself. I'm purely present thinking about her because I've already done the work on myself earlier in the day to make myself the best man I can be for her. I'm not thinking about work because I've already invested the hours and sacrifice when she's asleep, or I've got systems in place to make sure my job is a success. Therefore, when I have that time with her, not only am I the best dad, but she looks at me as the role model and Superman and like whatever, like she looks at me as like her hero. And she can see the example, the best example for her in all ways. I don't want her to have to look up to another man to get an example of what a man should be like. No, that's her dad's job, man. My whole fear and all that shame and stuff, that whole entire time, having that two different families, trying to fight for it so hard, was because I wanted my daughter to not have that void of having the best father figure in her life. It was like, I want to make sure that she feels safe and nurtured and secure, and that men are good and men are capable, and like this is what an actual man looks like, as someone who never gives up on his loved ones. And unfortunately, fortunately, like that situation happened so I could learn the experience and help other guys get through that and show them there's hope on either side of that, but also to be just like to glorify God through it, man. It's like, I was never abandoned in my darkest hour. Like there's so many times that like things could have gone wrong, but God kept me safe, bro. He kept me safe and kept me on the right track. Like that small little voice, because I was spending that time in isolation, even though I didn't believe in Jesus then, I had this voice, like just this internal voice being like, don't do that. You should do this. No. Yes, like that stillness. Because I was in isolation, because I was blocking out the noises of society, because I was still trying to do my best in the path, I was able to hear that voice better, man. I wasn't trying to partake in the vices. I was seeking to overcome my addiction. And that's when I started hearing God, and then just kind of like a different video to talk about like how that happened. But it'll be spoken about one day. But the point being, man, is that like that is what really, it was always about being the best man I could be for my daughter. I started seeking God for my daughter, man. And my daughter, it's funny, man, my daughter brought me to Christ. It's one of the dominoes that brought me to Christ, man. It's just like, pain is such a blessing, bro. And that's the lesson that I think I'm trying to teach you the most in this video, is like, if you look at all these different nuggets where it's like, you know, my dad talks me out of playing football, so I start like investing in my grades at school more, or like my friends will turn their back on me, or, you know, relationship falls apart, or injuries like broken back and just all different stuff like that all at the same time, you guys would be like, wow, if I actually went into depth on some of these things at different points in my life, it'd be like there's crazy things, like how businesses falling apart, get threatened by like bad people, all these different things that go on the back, let alone being a young father and trying to navigate the world like on your own, because you don't have the friends anymore, man. They weren't with you, bro. And you don't have a community around you. It's just basically you. You don't have a good relationship with your parents at the time or your siblings. So it's mainly you're putting all that on your back, and all you've got is your own belief and like failing forwards through life and just always trying to do the best for your family, best for your loved ones, and just failing forwards, man. And I'm saying, like, if I had just had the humility to go and get help, go and seek a mentor, go and seek God, I could have condensed that learning time so much to here, rather than paying for it in failure and regret and learning those lessons as I go along and failing forwards. That's why I really encourage you guys, man, like just have that humility and like have that courage to reach out and to talk to someone, man. Like go and talk, go and share, like go and get advice, just talk to people. These resources are there, bro. Or hit me up. I'll do my best to get back to you, man. But it's just, there's solutions to your issues, and it's only really when you have that humility that says, I need to change, so I'm going to get help, is when you can condense that frame where your family is not paying the cost between here and here. It's just you paying like a financial cost or a sacrifice cost of like your ego to go and get the help. We can collapse that time frame of learning into something so much shorter, so you can spend much more of your life living at the person that you were meant to be between here, and your family doesn't get caught up in all that pain whirlwind of you not dealing with your own issues. So, that's something that I have to live with. Thank God I have God, because I have the grace flowing through me, and He's used it as part of my testimony of helping other people, and it's been a big healing in my family, which is just the best. And it's happened because of this, because I was able to mold my character into being a better man. I had to have the trials and adversities and the pain and the suffering and the challenge in order to work out through me what was the best version of me, to find out what I didn't want to be like. I had to go through those dark times. I had to find out where I was coming up short, where I was lacking, so that I could be a better version of myself. We take a look at the pain, all those different circumstances there, and they all had a specific reason, a specific lesson, a specific opportunity that showed a character deficiency in myself, an opportunity to improve. All those pains, man, all those adversities, all those struggles is the pressure and the required molding it takes to build you into someone greater. So throughout that time, how do I turn my back on myself and on my belief? So it's like, that's why I say, guys, in these other videos that I have about having that clear why, that clear belief, that clear purpose, that clear vision, getting rid of sin so you can really see things clearly, like knowing where you're going and having the right goals and the statements, and like in terms of like the value, like in like who you are, speaking into action, and write it down every day, like those goal setting, and you do, it's really got to be crystal clear. You have that clear end state. It's like your eyes are on that. Your eyes are not on all the situations and chaos and life crumbling around you. It's like you don't become a victim of circumstance. You don't change your values because of what's going on around. It's like you stay true to the path, you believe in it. And the belief is what overcomes all those trials, all those temptations, all those things where people are not telling the truth about you to other people, and like all that hate, and believe me, there's a lot when you start changing, but for the better. People want to drag you back to their level, man, but you got to lift them up by ignoring that and by loving them unconditionally, and distancing yourself from the packs that can see by example how their ways were not the right way. And that's when you really have the opportunity to lift them up, if they have the humility, and you can reach out with grace and be like, come up with me, man, it's all good. And that's how you save someone, bro. That's how you help them, by your example, by your leadership, by your courage to go and choose to do transformations or challenges where you can improve yourself. So you take accountability for all the weak points in your life, just like I did when I was starting in football, where I was like, I want to be like Ronaldo, I want to be like Zlatan, I want to be jacked, I want to be ripped, I want to be the strongest footballer, I want to be the best on the pitch, I want to be the best player. And then that transcends, like, your goals kind of change into the powerlifting and the bodybuilding. Like, I want to be the best bodybuilder. I'm like, I don't really want to go on gear and look like that, but I'll be the best natural one then, or I'll be the best natural powerlifter. And then like your goals kind of evolve, but the core thesis throughout it is like the strength. It's the strength, it's the character. It's, I want to be the best, so I'm going to put the work in to be the best. I'm going to study the best. I'm going to emulate the best. And for me, man, the best was like, it started off as my dad. On top of that was like Goku and Vegeta. On top of that was like, Ronaldo or Greg Plitt, or it might have been a couple other different role models, man. Throughout the time, there's been a time and place for every single person. But like, these are people who have like inspired me. And then the best role model ever has been Jesus Christ. And that's been the most challenging thing I've ever had to go through. Is like, because it completely tears apart all the old bits of you, because when you ask God to help you become better and to heal you, it's like he has to pull all that stuff out. So you got to be ready for that challenge too when you start to walk that path of faith. But it's good, man, because you can start to get rid of all the weak you, the old you, and become that new you, that better you. So I love it, man. It's the best journey ever. And yeah, man, the training philosophy is so simple. It's not easy, it's simple. There's a difference between the two. I mean, I can break down my program I do every single day that I've done every single day for like the last 3 years. I can break down every single one I did before that in like 30 seconds. Just track every meal and treat it like someone who actually wants their results. Like, put it to the gram, man. Have the right calories, proteins, carbs, fats. Get 7-8 hours of sleep. Journal. Write about who you are every single day. Write about where you want to go every single day. Write about your dreams, your visions, your goals. Believe in it. Sacrifice what's lesser value, all those old shitty habits, for what's of higher value, character, purpose, integrity, honor, valor, like all these things that make a man valuable in terms of his character. Treat every session as if it was your last. Always try and beat your last one. Like, yes, we have our programmed, 5, 6 or 8 to 12 reps or whatever it may be. We always like have this targeted failure goal. We're always trying to beat that at the next session with 1 extra rep or better form or less rest between it. Like, there's always a way to improve. There's a constant progression, man. Progression is life and progression leads to death. So all we do is progress. Therefore, we're always living and alive. We're not just like going through the motions and just like, having that crappy self-talk like, I want to be here or anything like that. No, it's like we value our life, we value ourselves, we value our day, we value our loved ones. So we put the work in, it demands the value and creates the value of our life. That's the whole program it is. It's like you can go and write a 3-day, 4-day, 5-day, 7-day split out of that. I opt for 7 because I want to be on this point every single day. But that's what you're optimizing for, man. You're optimizing for what's in here and what's in here. We're optimizing for this. You can have both, man. You can have both if you do it right, if you have the right heart posture, you have the right intentions, the right intensity throughout your stuff. I've been like a 1% elite powerlifter since I started. I've been in single digits body fat for like the last 3 years. I've done it all naturally. I've been a single dad for most of that time. For the last 6 years, man, like there's been like all these different things. Like, and I'm not saying it to toot my own horn, but I'm just saying, like, what is the excuse for you, man? Like, what's the excuse? Like, I'm an entrepreneur. I've had my own business. I've had businesses work and fall apart. I've taken bad jobs. I've had plenty of different opportunities. Like, the same 24 hours as everyone else. Maybe even less because I've had kids. I had a kid. Maybe even less because I'm spending, who knows, man? But whatever. It's like, I'm trying to say, like, if it really means a lot to you, it means enough to you to get on, a transformation, a program, or like, if it actually means a lot to you that your goals are valuable, like, then there really shouldn't be any excuse in the ways. Like, do you value your goals more than you value the vices? Do you value yourself and your loved ones more than you value what's holding you back with the fears, the limitations, the unbelief, the excuses, the self-pity? Well, if you do value, put the time and effort in to become that. Intensity, man. All day, always, and always. It's what you need, bro. Thanks for watching.